They're David Duval-Smith and Michael Frank from Namaiki, and they're the design team that designed the Tokyo-style logo for Stockholm this year.
It's more fun to do everything, so it's best not to kind of put, you call yourself a graphic designer, but we make most of our money doing graphic design and then we spend it doing other stupid things, so that's the secret.
But one of the nice things in specific, if you make interesting things, people will ask you to make interesting things. In England, if you're an architect, you generally have to be an architect, and if you start making furniture, people think you're not serious. And the stage design David was talking about, we were doing the album jackets for a big Japanese rock band. We did some jackets for them, and they're like, we like your jackets, will you design a stage for us? So we drew on the back of an envelope, let's make a 70 meter long by 20 by 20 meter scaffolding grid full of lights that can be computer controlled with a big 50 meter LCD screen in it. And they came back a month later and they're like, well, we've pretty much got it designed, and can you just check the details for us? So it's an interesting, fun, fast-moving country to work in.
We're kind of just playing random images here, so which is pretty much how we work. Really, there's a whole lot of various amount of things. Probably a bit of background. We created a space called Deluxe first about 6 years ago, and that was a collaborative space with Klein-Diadem Architecture and an interior firm, also a musician, and a couple of other people. We also
Tokyo Brewing Company, a beer company that we started.
We kicked off a microbrewed beer company because there weren't any great kind of beers in Japan. There's lots of great beers in Japan, but they're all light lagers. So we wanted to drink something else. So we created an amber ale called Tokyo Ale, and so we drink a lot of that as well.
This is a photo, the one before it was a photo from, we had an exhibition in Osaka last summer.
And then we document it. Then interesting work is just going to fall out of the bottom of the process. So, you know, it's not hard at all. Just have a good time, document it. You're left with a lot of really interesting documents, and that's the main rule of how we work, to be honest. And it's been very influenced by improvisation, which is, if you want to go really super, you could make logical statements, many logical statements. You know, well, there really is only the here and now, or you could associate it with Zen Buddhism as well, or you could associate it with lots of different things, but we just truly believe that having fun is more fun. So this is how we work. Rather than trying to think of the coolest design we can do, we think of the most interesting process that will give us the most fun process that will give us the most interesting result in the end of it. And this is it's a really good way of working. We just have a good time.
And then work on trying to accelerate that process as fast as possible. So we set up a fun, interesting situation. It's photographed and filmed. The photographs get fed back into it, and trying to build resonant feedback loops that accelerate that process. We did a show in Israel for a week, and then we arrived here and had 3 days setting up workshops at Beckman's. And really it was just trying to make a space where people could relax and enjoy themselves and connect with other people, and then speed up that process as fast as possible. And in 3 days we managed to take over 2 floors of the whole school, and we're generating animations and video and a live music stage and VJ. So what we did in a month and a half in Osaka, we managed to compress this time down to about 4 days. And
people talk about the difficulty of living in modern times. You know, you've got to pay for everything. Really, you're subscribing to life, basically. But basically, human needs have not changed in thousands of years. We need good food, good water, and good fun. It's really that simple. So, for example, the exhibition that we did in Osaka, we were really busy, and we had a month-and-a-half exhibition in Osaka in this gallery. And we were busy with work, so we just took the office to Osaka. We set up our entire office. We made sure that there was a space for making this, and a space for eating, and a space for drinking, and a space for socializing, and a space for having parties, and a space. We just basically built all of our offices that we have in Tokyo.
This is, to me, working with clients, in my experiences from Europe, it's hard to invite clients into this type of process.
I think you have to build a situation that, and that was partly what Deluxe was about, it's building a situation that reassures people that even though this looks like a fun, free-form process, it generates results. We've worked with lots of small clients, but we work with Apple, and we've worked with Sony and Nike and big people too, and managed to generate ideas and results with this process that they can't get access to by other methods. So it has to be framed in a situation that can generate things that people are interested in, and it's the tuning of that process that I think is interesting somehow. It has to.
It's also
have feedback.
It's also about increasing your sphere of influence, I think. So initially it scares off the more severe clients, and so we don't get jobs from the most rigid of clients. But that's kind of great. We just want to get jobs from.
But for example, we worked on the Sony Ivo project, and they came with us, and they'd spent a huge amount of time and a huge amount of research to generate not a lot of human-based results, whereas simply by just thinking what you really would want rather than what you feel intellectually that you should need, we managed to offer them things that they've not been able to get. So it works as a process. We worked with Apple for the opening of the Apple store in Ginza. It was the first Apple store outside of America. They were setting up in Ginza, and they basically wanted a lot of interest around the opening of the store. So
but ultimately, they want to sell computers. They're a business, so it's really quite easy if you're honest in the goals of the client. The client's coming to you. You have to realize the client's goals, or else you're not going to be successful in business. So they want to sell computers, and the easiest way to do that is to show what fantastic machines they make. So we gathered the most interesting bunch of people we knew who were using computers and just showcased them. We did an event where people were using the technology in interesting ways that Apple would not have thought of yet.
I think that was what really surprised us about Apple, is that we did this performance, people showed what they were doing, and all of the Apple developers and senior business people were at the back, and they were really surprised, and we'd assumed that they must have known that this is what people could do with their computers, which is why they were developing the software. And they came to us afterwards and they were like, we can't believe that people are using our computers in this way. And it was a nice reinforcement of what we were doing, that they were so surprised.
The best way to work.